1. Welcome to class, beautiful people. It's your TTA Pro, Mr. O, back with a December test episode. هنكمل شرح December 2020 passage number 4 ده آخر passage في الامتحان ده. Let's begin. هبدأ بquestion number 34, right? Rocks exposed to direct rays of the sun became strongly heated by day and expand. Now خد بالكم. So here, واحد ممكن يقول well the verb tense صح يا مستر أسامة. So لازم في الباست عشان أنا شايف دلوقتي exposed, right? ده شكله كده في الباست و strongly heated, right? Well, some things, right? Number one, exposed to the direct rays, the adjective, that مش verb, modifier. Well, strongly heated, this could be a verb, right? But again, it's not because it's adjective, بيوصف لدرجة إيه. One thing about verb tenses لازم تاخدوا بالكم بيها المينينج مهم. So لازم نعمل حسابنا على المينينج. يعني احنا خلاص عارفين well consistency ده أهم حاجة ونشوف باقي الverbs ولكن أما نيجي نتكلم عن facts, right? حاجة صحيحة. لازم يبقى في ال present tense. Again, when we speak about facts, it needs to be in the present tense. So هو بيتكلم عن facts دلوقتي هنا في الجملة. هو بيقول لي أو الauthor بيقول لي لو حطينا rock في الشمس it expands, it grows. This is a scientific fact. So therefore they become. وبرضه لو بصينا على باقي verbs برضه من ناحية consistency is considerable, right? There's other verbs أعتقد where are they? Contracts, right? لازم تاخدوا بالكم بالverb. مش أي كلمة ED بنحسبها verb عشان ED words ممكن يبقى modifiers or adjective modifiers. So نقطة ديت نقعد نحفظ ED معناها past tense verb. No, لازم نشوف بيعمل لي إيه في الجملة. Let's continue. A verb معناها it's an action or a state. So مش أي كلمة ED تاخد verb. Which of the following logically placed here or would be logically placed here to represent the assertion made in the paragraph? So أول حاجة لازم نعرف إيه هو assertion هنا في paragraph. And when we read the assertion right here بيكلمني عن the differences in temperature, right? وبيكلم عن the effect of differences in temperature. So here, when the difference in temperature between day and night is considerable, so الفرق كبير, right? في درجة حرارة, the repeated strains of sudden expansion and contraction at least become greater than the rocks can bear and they break. So الفكرة كلها, if there's a big difference في درجة الحرارة, what happens to the rock? The rock breaks. طيب تمام. عايزين بقى, a logical sentence يكمل الidea ده. For the same reason that glass cracks when plunged in boiling water. So are we talking about something breaking? Okay. Are we talking something breaking بسبب temperature? برضو okay. So it's analogous, right? It is analogous. So بيديني situation شبه السيتويشن اللي خلاص موجودة في الباراجراف. Now again, although sometimes remain intact or can be viewed in other material or taking consideration the fragility, none of those indicate breaking because of the temperature. Key ideas مهم قوي الإجابة بتاعتنا إجابة A. Question number 36. Where in the passage should sentence 1 be placed, right? Sentence number 1. I think this is sentence number 1. In cooling in the evening, the surface shell suddenly contracts on the unyielding interior and in time is forced off in scales. Where do we put this sentence? Well, number 1, عشان sentence placement, احنا قلنا ايه؟ وعايزين نلاقي ال key ideas, right? Or نلاقي some sort of conjunction, or نلاقي some sort of pronoun. Now, شايفين أنا ما اتكلمتش عن keywords عشان keywords حلوة وجميل وكل حاجة بس ده مش السبب الرئيسي أنا إجابة or I move the sentence around, right? I think عمر or when I have your paper in front of me, right? أنت قلت لي هنا sentence 1 هيتحط after sentence number 2. This is what you told me. Well, again, لازم نشوف الidea في sentence number 1 ونفهم إيه هو main idea في sentence number 1. Well, it talks about cooling in the evening. طيب تمام. Let's look at sentence number 2 عشان قلت لي answer B. B is incorrect, right? وعايزين نشوف ليه answer B incorrect. Rocks are poor conductors of heat and hence their surfaces may become painfully hot under the full blaze of the sun while the interior remains comparatively cool. Now, أنا عايزاكي تاخدي بالك بقى sentence 2 بيكلمني عن rocks in heat, صح؟ And then sentence 1 بيكلمني عن إيه؟ عن cooling, okay? And then Sentence 3 بيكلمني عن by day. Right? They expand, they heat. So لو شفتي ترتيب ideas انت كده بتقولي لي number 2 is about heat, number 1 is about cooling, and number 3 is also about heat, right? Well تقولوا لي well Mr. Osama in sentence number 3 كان مفيش كلمة heat. صح؟ لازم نبطل الفكرة ديت, right? You have to stop this, right? Here the outer layer expands. Now again, احنا لو قرأنا الباراجراف it expands امتى under heat. Expands امتى under heat. This is the first thing. Another thing عم بيقولها لي, right? عم بيقول لي by day. Well, the thing is by day, okay, right? And then in the evening or in cooling in the evening, right? So نتكلم عن daytime, بعد كده نتكلم عن nighttime. Although it's good, it's not strong enough for me personally. أنا personally يعني أنا عندي standard معين عشان أنقي answer choices. So أنا مش همشي بس by day and then by night. عشان ممكن يقول لي by night and then by day. I mean عادي. But if you look at the actual ideas نفسهم, right? الأفكار نفسهم, you're going to find again sentence 2 is about heat or rocks and heat. And then sentence 3 continues the conversation, right? Sentence 3 continues the conversation about heat. It expands. And then بقى عايزين نحط sentence 2 بعديها, well, what happens بقى at night? It cools, right? The opposite. So I like answers after sentence 3 أفضل إجابة. Now, with regards to after sentence number 4, again, simply هنقول it's basically off topic. It's all about, again, absorbing heat. It's all about مش عارف إيه, in heating. So the focus is heat. So مش هحط phrase or idea بيكلمني عن cooling, أما بيكلمني عن heating. You can't go hot, cold, hot. أما نيجي نكتب paragraphs, it's in chunks. أما نيجي نكتب paragraphs, it's in chunks. يعني إيه? When you write a paragraph, like for example, أول chunk focuses on the heating. تاني chunk focuses on cooling. آخر chunk focuses on the effects بتاع الاثنين. مش هقعد ألخبط كل حاجة على بعضيها. You stay within the topic and continue the conversation, right? Now again, a simpler way زي عم بيقول لي, well, again, one more time. Well, in cooling in the evening and then by day, right? So logically, عم بيقول لي by day, by evening, يجي ورا بعض. For me, that was not strong enough, right? That was not strong enough. عايزين strong reasons for answers like those. عشان دولت أصعب أسئلة في الامتحان. Question number 37, right? So rocks are poor and hence, right? And yet, and so far, and henceforth. Okay, so here obviously بنتكلم عن إيه? We're talking about a transition. And hence معناها so, right? And hence معناها so يعني نتيجة. It shows me a result. And yet shows me a معناها despite, right? مش عايز أقول opposite idea, عايز أقول يعني مش عايز, ما بحبش أقول contradiction عشان despite مش شرط contradiction, ممكن يبقى غصب عنك, against the grain, right? And so far معناها لحد دلوقتي, right? Until now. And henceforth معناها henceforth. Hence يعني so forward. So من دلوقتي لحد المستقبل. From now until the future. So henceforth, forward. So do we have a cause and effect relationship ده أول حاجة? Of course we do, right? And here, they're poor conductors of heat, hence their surfaces become hot. صح؟ مش عارفين, like, they don't know how to preserve heat or conduct heat, so they become very, very hot. If you have any questions, just ask me very simply. Number 38, which word is most in line with the paragraph, right? So right here, where is it? Number 38, where's number 30? Okay, and by day the outer layer expands, صح? No, not now, y'all. It's not, I don't think so. No. So, well, هتقولوا Mr. Osama, right? The rock has an outer layer, صح? Right? So it needs to be in line with the paragraph. So in line with the paragraph means it needs to follow the discussion of the paragraph. Earlier في الباراgraph فعلا كلمني عن الشell, by the way. If you read the paragraph, صح? Where is it? Where is it? We just read it right now. Sentence 1, Heat by day and expand after sunset and when the country. Yes, changes and expansion. Where? Here, the surface shell, right there. Yeah, I got you. The surface shell. So here it's the shell. So نيجي يسألنا which one is most in line with the paragraph. احنا عايزين ندور على support في الباراجراف عشان الإجابة بتاعتنا. عشان فعلا ممكن layer. It sounds correct. It could be correct, right? The first layer of rock, right? And the shell, برضه rock has a shell. Armor لا, right? ده للدفاع or something like that. Covering, it's not a covering. Actually, covering is temporary, right? You cover something وممكن يتشال. So no, it's your shell and your layer. So make sure when you're reading through, and this is why برضه بحب أقول طلابي read the paragraphs. طلبة بيحبوا skip around في the writing section. ال EST board خلاص عارفين أنتوا بتعملوا كده. Right? They know what you guys do. موجودين في الجروبس بتاعتنا. So why don't you guys recognize that and read the paragraphs? ممل بياخد وقت بس هيضمن إجابتنا أكتر. Number 4. Many rocks such as granite are made in grains, right? وعايزين نقول composed of, right? معمول. So made in grains ده كده نقول rocks are in the grains and they're made inside, right? بتصنع جوه grains. So no, I don't like that, right? Made with grains, معمول مع الgrains عشان with معناها مع. Wait, how do you write that in? There you go. So no, right? And they're made up of grains, right? Up of معناها composed of, right? The constituents أو parts. Question number 40. Here we go. In heating and cooling, these grains crowd against their neighbors, and tear loose. Whoa. Right? Comma and? Why do I have comma and? I'm confused. Comma and امتى؟ عندنا independent ideas قبليها وبعديها, generally speaking. Or مثلا ممكن يجي independent idea, double comma and independent idea, right? For the most non-essential clause. Or ممكن يجي again comma and as a list, right? So let's check this out. فين comma so? Okay, yeah, I got you right here. So, well, yeah, I can understand that, right? So in heating and cooling, these grains crowd against their neighbors and tear them loose from them, comma, so that finally the rock disintegrates into sand. بس لو بصيت في الإجابات ملهاش أي علاقة بالكوما ديت، صح؟ Like أيوه دلوقتي المفروض comma so يجي ب two independent ideas ودولة الرولز احنا حافظينها، بس إيه اللي خليني أركز هنا؟ Like مفيش ولا إجابة مرتبطة بكوما so هنا. يعني عشان كوما so يطلع correct هنا في الجملة ده لازم أول فكرة أساساً should be like independent. So you have a problem here. You have a problem here, right? Smart, nice, right? So I'm only again, the way he saw it is comma and comma so ما ينفعش two comma كانوا مع بعض generally في نفس الجملة. So that's another way to see it. Very nice indeed. So I'm gonna be B, C, D. Well, لو بصيت على إجابة B, well ده كده معناها إيه؟ and لوحدها معناها إيه guys? What does this signify? حد عارف؟ حد فاكر؟ When you have and لوحدها كده parallelism, right? So now I have to look for parallel structure. So in heating, cooling these grains against their neighbors and tear them loose from them. A bit weird there, right? Very weird in there. Question mark. Right? Actually, now we're looking for parallel structure, and now we're breaking rules here. عشان and tear them loose. Well, we're looking for هنا دلوقتي infinitive verb. Well, هل عندي infinitive verb here? So in heating and cooling these grains, crowd. There you go, right? Against the neighbors and tear them loose. There you go. We have our verb here. We have our verb here. And ما بينهم, I like answer B. Very nice indeed. Answer C. Well, again, المشكلة بتاعتنا comma and هنا, right? Well, comma and لو بيربط two words مع بعض, like two verbs, right? Or whatever, it's a fragment, ما ينفعش. زي مونيكا بتقول لي subject verb and verb وما ينفعش نهائي. And answer D, usually ده غلط. and comma ممكن يجي صح لو جاي non-essential clause وتكمل الفريز. right؟ مش عايزاكم تبصوا على and comma وغلط وتماما. ممكن يجي صح لو جاي non-essential clause. Don't forget the non-essential clause ممكن يجي أي حتة. So make sure نقرأ الجملة كلها، نقراش جزء من الجملة. What do you mean, Mrs. Monica? Well, the answer is B. It is a compound verb. Right? The grains crowd and tear. By the way, this is independent idea. And heating and cooling these grains. This is a gerund phrase. So it is independent idea, comma so. Very weird structures. Very weird style. عشان كده برضو I don't want you guys يعني بس تمشوا على robotic rules. عشان لو عملتوا كده it's gonna take a long time. في حاجة اسمها analysis paralysis. Do you guys know what this means? من كتر analyzing الجملة مش عارفين تعملوا ايه. Right? Try to keep explanations نفسكم as simple as possible. The simpler the explanation, the more likely you are correct. But the more I try to explain, the more likely it'll be incorrect. So yeah, we have a compound verb here, Mrs. Monica. Question number 41. So now we have are affected, affect, are affect. بالنسبة لنا هنا A versus E, right? A for action. So كده affect would be a verb, صح? A for action. E for a noun, right? Keep this in mind. So here, where are we? Number 41. There's a sharp and sudden fall of temperature after sunset, and the rocks are affected. Well, no, صح? احنا قلنا E the noun, as in A for action, right? So here, the rocks affect and now chilled. Well, لو قلت are affect, or excuse me, لو قلت affect ايه بقى؟ عشان ده كده نقول في action. So what do they affect? The answer is D. خدوا بالكم are affected. There's a mistake here. Yeah, no, that's my bad. Yeah. It's my bad here. In the practice you have, yeah. So there's an ED there. It's not a passive voice, it's intransitive. Okay, it's intransitive. عشان here the rocks are affected. That means في action بيطبق على الrocks. الrocks ما يعملش الاكشن ده، الاكشن بيطبق عليه. It's called an intransitive verb. There's an ED here. Sorry about that. Number 42. So again, which choice is the most accurate interpretation of the data in the chart that accompanies the passage? This was my bad. I think I forgot to put the graph here. Geez, right? What's going on, Mr. Osama? By day, بيقول لك امتى, right? Strongly heated by day. And it's in a non-essential clause. No. This is the actual full test, the mock test نفسه. So I'm giving you guys the actual mock test style. The graph موجودة في الجزء اللي فيه explanation. أنا عامل ده عشان أديكوا explanation على كل السؤال. So لما تيجي تحلوا تشوفوا explanation على طول. مش عايزاكوا تقعدوا تستنوا يوم أو 24 ساعة أو however long عشان تشوفوا explanation على السؤال. Right? So the problem جاية in the actual test. I need to put that. There you go. Here's the graph. So which choice offers an accurate interpretation of the data, right? So one good thing, or one thing EST is actually pretty good at, لازم تاخدوا بالكم بالtopic. It's important. عشان دلوقتي I have a big graph. الجراف ده بيكلمني عن igneous rock, weathering, information كتير قوي, صح? Lots and lots of information. What's the topic في passage? ايه هو discussion في passage? Well, the discussion is all about temperatures, right? We'll discussion في paragraph كلها تأثير temperatures على الrock. So what we need is something related برضو to temperature. Stay on topic. So لو بصيت على number 42 كلهم صح في الجراف. لو بصينا على كل الإجابات هنلاقي كلهم صح. In the cooling and crystallization process, magma undergoes a physical process that ends in igneous rock. Well, again, what are we talking about here? Well, a sudden fall in temperature, the rocks strongly heated by day are affected and now chilled, perhaps even to a freezing point. Notice the transition, but now we're talking about it's heated by day and then it is chilled, right? And then by the next idea, it continues the conversation about the cooling process. وبيقول لي نتيجة الcooling process. ولو بصيت هنا, right, now the heating and cooling process, magma becomes igneous rock. I like answer A the best. Answer B is off topic, right? Answer C, heat and pressure affect only one form of rock. I mean, طيب تمام حلو وكل حاجة ما عنديش مشكلة, بس ايه علاقة ده بالدiscussion في الباراجراف, right? The processes all center around the transformation of rock. Again, حلو لطيف وكل حاجة, but it is too general, right? It's too لغة. What is that, Mr. John? So here we're going to say answer A. Question number 43. عايزينكم بس تشوفوا in context. You focus on the paragraph and graph عشان السؤال اللي Mr. عمر بيسألنا an interpretation of the data that accompanies this passage. So بيقول لك, لازم الاثنين مع بعض. Don't just look at the graph لوحدها عشان ال EST بيعملوا ايه again؟ بيديك 4 إجابات صح بالجراف. طيب لازم اشوف بقى انهي واحد فيهم صح بالpassage. Right? Finally, number 43, well, not finally, number 43. Which choice best concludes this paragraph and transitions to the topic of the next paragraph? Okay, cool, right? This could result in many disadvantages for future vegetation. Okay, so this, I guess, بيكلمني عن الheating وكده والtemperatures. Okay, لو بصيت بقى next paragraph عشان the transitional sentence. So a transitional sentence basically بنروح من topic A to topic B, right? ما بحبش اقرا جمله واحده, انا بحب اقرا overall ideas. It helps a lot more. Again, طلبه يقولوا well Mr. أسامة مش ده هيضيع علينا وقت. Well, انا عارف November test 2022 معظم التست كان relevancy. So هم بيجبروك نقرا وبيجبر نقرا الباسج وبيجبر نفهم الباسج وبيجبر لازم نفهم الايدياز اللي بيجي في الباسج. So this whole skipping around, does not feed bread, right? So here again, I continue the discussion. In the Sahara, the thermometer has been known to fall 131 degrees Fahrenheit within a few hours. In the light air of the Pamir Plateau in Central Asia, a rise of 90 degrees Fahrenheit has been recorded. We're talking about the chilling and cooling effect. صح؟ اتكلمنا عن chilling هنا. Now we're talking about heating. So أنا ماليش دعوة دلوقتي بالvegetation. ماليش دعوة بالdisadvantage of the vegetation. It's off topic. The soil needs to be then examined. أنا مالي دلوقتي بالdiscussion of the soil. The effect on the rocks is highly substantial. I mean, okay, it's a very general sentence. It could be correct. So the exchange in temperature and its effect on the rocks therefore depends on the area. Okay, the exchange in temperature. Wow, guys, right? Key idea. وبنتكلم عن exchanges in temperature هنا صح طلعوا ونزلة في الدرجات. They affect the rocks. وعارفين كده عشان if it's hot, it breaks the rock. If it's cold, it freezes the rock. And it depends on the area. برضه صح مش احنا هنا اتكلمنا عن areas. شايفين هنا, we're not using keywords. هتقولي well Mr. Sema, في keyword هنا temperature. I don't care. Don't do that. That's the worst way you can solve these questions. يعني questions زي ده لو مش عارفين الإجابة نهائي, then you go back to the keyword, right? But you guys are very strong students. يعني مفيش حد هنا gave 500 مثلا, right? So I like this. He did say Sahara, Mr. Ahmed. وإيه بقى علاقة السهارة؟ هتقولي Sahara temperature? I mean, yeah, okay. Oh, area, yeah, area. And you notice, I'm not like against you guys, صح? The way we think وكده, it's valid وكل حاجة, but sometimes the way we think is too shallow. Sometimes the way we think is too shallow. Finally, question number 44. Desert Pebbles is weakened, right? Desert Pebbles weakens, don't let singular, right? Desert Pebbles weakened by long exposure to heat, cold, have been shivered. Okay, right, maybe. Desert pebbles are weakened. Okay. Now notice the effect of are weakened. I'm نيجي نزود ال to be verb على الverb. أنا كده بقول something applies الverb عليها, right? وزي ما أنا كنت بتقولي in this form, this is passive form, right? So كده أنا بقول well, the long exposure weakens the pebbles. If I say answer B, أنا كده بقول the adjective. يا adjective يا الpebble نفسه بيعمل الأكشن. Be very careful. في فرق كبير جدا ما بين ال meanings of these verbs. So here we're going to say are weakened. Are weakened or are weakened? Any questions for number 44? Any questions for the passage? A and B are wrong كده كده بسبب subject verb agreement, right? So pebbles is or no, right? Again, C and D. If I say, for example, I'll give you a couple of examples. The school built in 1997. The school was built in 1997. Now, there's a huge difference in these meanings, right? There's a huge difference in these meanings. Now, لو the school built in 1997 أنا كده بقول إيه؟ السكول عمل الأكشن. It doesn't make sense. So كده بقى أنا مجبر أشوفها كadjective. ولو شفتها adjective كده معليش verb في الجملة. So both ways it doesn't work. But if I say the school was built in 1997 أنا كده الأكشن of was built is the school. Yeah, passive versus active voice. Another way you can see it, intransitive verbs, right? مثلا, so مثلا لو قلنا بقى, now this would be also a correct one. The school built in 1997 was, I don't know, famous, right? So now, built هنا مش verb, by the way. Built in 1997, ده كده adjective phrase. So the difference between was built and built, I can put was built is applied on the school. The kid that this school is the direct object. School is the direct object. It's not the subject per se, right? It's not doing an action. So ممكن نقول مثلا the school was built in 1997 by the government. Now we have passive voice. Okay, let's check this out. Let's check this out, Mr. Pierre. Here, Mr. Pierre, let's see here. So desert pebbles are weakened by long exposure to heat. Well, we have the passive voice right here. صح? And cold have been shivered in fine, sharp, pointed fragments on being placed in sand. Well, if you look at the really weird structures here, really weird structures. Yeah, I would actually, I mean, I would choose C. بسبب and have been shivered. But the problem is, it's not parallel. So you can't choose C. It looks correct, but it's not parallel with and. So you need a present tense verb. You need a present tense verb. So if you look at it, من ناحية have been, you need parallel structure. الاثنين لازم يبقى في present tense. Right? You're seeing it as weakened لوحدها. Well, now you're doing it as past. If you view this as a verb, and if you view it as a verb, it's not parallel with have been. مثلا لو قلنا have been weakened and shivered, طيب تمام. This would be parallel. Right? But again, if we see this as a modifier, right? If you see this as a modifier, desert pebbles, let's say, weakened by long exposure to heat, cool, and cold, have been shivered. Yeah. I can see what you mean. I could definitely see what you mean here. Let me just check the answer key. Let me make sure I'm not being. Which passage was this? This was December 2020. Let me double check the answer key. You know, I have a bad habit of not checking my answers. So sometimes, like that last question you hear, by the way. So at least you guys know I solved these tests. بنفسي يعني. Where did it go? Okay, so here we go. This is test number 1. What number was this? Number 44, okay. Where's the answer key? Number 44. Ah, actually it is C. It is a modifier. Okay, I need to. Sorry guys. أما أجي بحل التست دولت معظم الوقت مش براجع على إجاباتي because I'm pretty confident. So -1 for Mr. Osama. حقكوا عليا. I apologize. Well, at least you guys know I solved these tests. ومش بمشي على, you know, what the answer keys tell me على طول, right? Okay. So I would say here, thank you, sir. So هنا زي ما احنا قلنا, it is a modifier. Right, weakened by long exposure, modifies and pebbles, and then by adding the verb بتاعتنا have been shivered. Questions here? Problems? Concerns? Okay. This was December, Literacy 1, Passage 4. You can learn anything. Mr. Asama, out.